Now, when it comes to business, when it comes to working with fighters, I'm straight about things and I do things the right way. And I hear a lot of things, so that's just my view.
Danny Gaffon here for Pro Boxing Fans. We're in Manchester, where we've just had the final press conference for Jordan Gill versus Barrett. Frank Smith, good to see you again. Domestic dust-ups are a hot topic at the minute. We've got another really enticing one on Saturday night.
Yeah, very much so. It's a fight we were excited to make. Jordan Gill coming off the back of a tremendous win against Michael Conlan, and Zelfa Barrett. He's most recently, obviously, in the last 18 months or so, took that fight against Rakhimov short notice and put in a great performance against him. And I think the winner of this fight will go on to challenge for a world title. And I've spoken about it a few times today, but the pressure of, look, every fighter wants to win, I get that, but we want to see real fights, and this is a real fight, and the loser will go on to more opportunities as well. So, I think the more we can push that messaging, the better, because we want to create domestic fights, as you say. It gets people intrigued, and it keeps the sport growing. And I think we're in for a great fight on Saturday.
You mentioned the winner could be in line for a world title shot. Who do you think's got more to lose on Saturday night?
I think, who would have said after Jordan Gill 6 years ago in Peterborough lost that fight, or 6 years ago, something like that, he'd be back here now. He would have gone to Belfast. Everyone writ him off against Michael Conlan, didn't they? So I think he's probably been through those tougher times of his career, but at the same time, when you say about more to lose, it's so easy to say now, but actually, who knows? In 4 years' time, these names could. Zelfa Barrett could, whoever loses could still be around in 4 years' time, and you would have said, "Do you remember that time looking back there?" So, I think the sport's evolving, and I think it's actually good. I don't think a loss means as much as it used to. Again, I'm not an athlete. I know winning means a lot to people, but at the same time, the more we can step away from that, and the more we can do, a bit like the UFC, making real fights, and losses become less relevant to making real fights in the longer term.
Pretty interesting fights on the undercard. What fight are you looking forward to most?
I am very much I like the Michael Gomez Jr. against Kane Baker fight. I think that's going to be a great scrap to open up the main broadcast. Ellie Scottney goes for unified titles. Excited for that. She's boxed brilliantly. She looked great, and I think massive opportunity for her. Rhiannon Dixon challenges for her first world title as well against Karen Garberhill, someone who obviously boxed Casey Taylor. And look, if Rhiannon can come through that, she sets up a potential big fight against Caroline Dubois down the road. Maybe even a unification there, so that would be great. And then there's a whole host of young talent as well. Steve Clark's out here, Jack Turner, Brandon Scott, Jimmy Sains as well, Jordan Flynn as well, who was supposed to fight Cameron Vong, but that will be rescheduled. So yeah, a whole host of exciting fights on the card.
Frank, we'll wrap it up there. Can't really think of any other big matchroom related news over the past 24 hours. No signings, nothing. Boots Ennis, that's some coup, Frank.
Yeah, huge. Everyone wanted to sign Boots Ennis, and a great job by the team, to get that over the line. It's the kind of signing that excites people, and it's quite amazing because you saw the reaction to that signing last night, and we still don't even believe Boots is where he needs to be commercially and from a profile perspective. But you saw how much traction that announcement got. But we believe we can make him a huge star because he's got everything he needs. He talks well, he looks the part, and he boxes brilliantly. So, he's got everything, and now he's got a platform behind him that's going to push him, and that's our job to take him to the next level.
There's absolutely no doubts, I think, from anyone in boxing about Boots' talent. He's already a world champion, but you talked about the commercial side of things. How do you go about building him into the star that he deserves to be? I know you have a big emphasis on starting off in the hometown and branching out from that. Is that the approach you think you'll take with Boots, or there's even talk of a fight in the UK potentially with Conor Benn? Yeah,
I think right now the focus has got to be in the US and keeping him there. Philadelphia is somewhere we want to take him very soon, maybe even for his first fight. That's the focus for us. We got to build a star, and it all starts at home. It all starts for him, and we believe we can do huge numbers with him. So that's what he needs. He needs the backing and the support that he's never had. He's done it all really on his own, and I think we can, like I say again, take him to the next level across all levels of media, socials of it. His social numbers are already massive for someone who perceptionally isn't as big as he should be, if you get what I'm saying. So there's a lot more work to be done, and that's we're excited for. When you get someone like him, it's exciting because he's got everything, and it's really an easy job.
Do you think it makes a real statement? Because you've made some big signings in America before, but I think to sign like an American fighter, sort of under 30, a world champion from the PBC, or like along with Top Rank, probably the most established American promoter. Do you think this is like sort of a cut above in terms of signings you've made, in terms of like making waves in America?
Yeah, one of our best signings, you know. But look, we've been in America a long time. Look what we did with Devin Haney together. I know he had to go off. He went off and won belts elsewhere, but we worked with Devin for a long time. Subriel Matias, another fighter we signed recently, tremendous fighter from Puerto Rico. His profile doesn't really match up with his ability and skill set. So I think we're in a great place. I think we're going to keep building. You know, we've got some other great fighters as well. You know, Ray Ford just won a world title. He's a tremendous fighter, got so much more to give. Austin Williams is in a great place as well, a real character. Diego Pacheco, we saw box at the weekend. I think we're in a great place in the US. It was always going to take time. We were always going to face into the comments you hear. But, you know, we're very excited about what the future holds, and we've only been in the US for 6 years now. So much more to come, and we're excited about what the future holds.
On to more domestic issues. Saw an interview with you yesterday. You said nobody in boxing likes Ben Shalom. It's not very nice, Frank.
Yeah, I get in trouble for saying things, but I don't like to lie. I don't like people have an opinion on me. Like a lot of people have an opinion on me, don't even know me, and have a view on the way I talk or the way I am. I'm very straight up, like as a person, even with the people I deal with, sometimes to my detriment probably, but everything I do, I'm just honest, because it's much easier to be honest, because you don't have to then remember all the lies you come up with. And I'm also in a fortunate position, because I'm an established business where we can do business the right way, but look, it looks worse written down as well, that comment, but I don't appreciate a lot of the things I hear, and I'm not going to sit here and lie, but each their own. You know, you don't have to take my view. No one has to care about what I say. Who am I? I'm irrelevant to, you know, I'm a T-boy, so don't worry about what I say. That's my view. You know, again, people don't have to like my view, and a lot of people don't like my view, and a lot of people may think the same thing about me. A lot of people may not like me, but you know, when it comes to business, when it comes to working with fighters, I'm straight about things, and I do things the right way. And I hear a lot of things, so, you know, that's just my view.
We would have thought not everyone in boxing the best of friends. Just moving a couple of quick ones in the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua's comments on retiring potentially within 2 years. Bit of a shock, or is that sort of the time frame you would have had in mind for AJ?
Look, he's the boss, and he's done amazing things in the sport of boxing. He's still got things he wants to achieve, and I think he can do that in the next 2 years. Boxing's a crazy game, crazy business, and anything can change in days in this sport of what plans are and what direction you want to go in. So it's good to see a fighter who's got plans and who's thinking about the longer term, because look, he's in a great position that he's put himself in, that he could quit boxing tomorrow. He's done so much, and I think he'll be respected more when he does retire as well, but he's still got so much left he can do in the next 2 years, and who knows, maybe he gets those 2 years and goes, actually still fancy this, want to continue.
You hope so.
I love it. Look, AJ, you know, a lot of the fighters, I have a personal relationship with AJ, because when he started with us, I was taking him to his medical. I've been part of that journey since he's been a professional since day one. So it's been an unbelievable journey. You're not involved in many quite like that. What I feel is that he will get so much more credit when he does retire in the sport.
And of the rest of your stable, who do you think has got the most potential to sort of fill that gap as like your marquee pay-per-view star in 2 years' time?
Look, I think I got asked this question about like who. We all know who the key names are and the big names are, but there's so many fighters that when you look back 10 years ago as an example, who would have said, and I said this about Tony Bellew, for example, when he fought Danny McIntosh at the Echo Arena and we sold 1,500 tickets, who would have thought in his last 3 fights he would have done pay-per-view back-to-back, sold out the O2 Arena, sold out Manchester Arena, broke pay-per-view numbers? Who would have thought it? Who would have thought Lee Wood, after, 10 years ago, would have gone on to... It's so difficult in this sport, really, to... Like, we all know who the standout stars are right now, but there's so many fighters who have come through over the years and built into that position. Not just fighters we represent either, by the way, other fighters as well. So we got so many standout stars, but I don't really like spotlighting them, because there's so many as well who can come through and build themselves into that position. That's what makes the sport exciting.
Last one for me, Frank. I was up in Morecambe for the Tyson Fury press conference yesterday, and John Fury is now a part of Tyson Fury's training team. Obviously, I know you've got no involvement whatsoever in that, but I've seen a lot of comments. I think Johnny Nelson said he thinks, or sorry, not Johnny Nelson, Derek Chisora said that John should be Tyson's main trainer. How do you see that evolving? You know, John's obviously a man, got his own opinions. I'm sure if he thinks something Sugar's doing isn't right, he won't be afraid to say. What do you make of that?
Look, I'm not the boxing expert around here, so I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. He knows a lot more than me about the sport of boxing. It's all fun and games, isn't it? And look, Tyson Fury is a tremendous fighter, and trainers do make a big difference. But he's also a tremendous fighter, and I think, sometimes you need someone who can bring the right things out of you, and maybe that's something that his dad can do, I guess.
Frank, we'll wrap it up there. Enjoy the rest of the week in Manchester. Always a pleasure.
Cheers, man.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it, mate.
Thanks,
You too.
mate.
See you later.
See you in a bit. There's no issue with that.